Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the Paper Crane Yarns knitting podcast. My name is Ashley and I am the dyer behind Paper Crane Yarns. I'm also coming to you from my yarn store. If you saw my last episode, I changed up my backdrop a little bit. I was in another part of my store, but I kind of missed recording in front of my yarn wall, so I am back here in front of the rainbow wall, as I call it. Yep, it's been exactly 2 weeks since I last recorded an episode, and it's been a productive couple of weeks. So I think in a lot of my videos, I tend to ramble on a while before I jump into what I've been doing. So today I'm going to get started with what I've actually been working on, and then at the end, I will go into a little bit more about some other life updates, just in case you're only here for more of the fiber arts, which you may be. So yeah, this is my yarn store. I've been open a couple weeks now, and the only announcement I do want to start with is that if you have been shopping with me in the past or keeping up with my store virtually, I have been on Etsy since I started my business, and today I'm finally announcing papercraneyarns.com. So that is my new website, and on it you can purchase anything that I sell in my store. So on Etsy, I was only updating every once in a while. I had a really limited inventory for a while there while I was getting my store ready, and it was only my hand-dyed yarns and occasionally some project bags. But now with papercraneyarns.com, I have all of the wool and the yarns that I carry in my shop. So the Imperial Yarn brand, I've got Kelbourne Woolens, as well as some embroidery kits, some candles, and on there you can find basically my whole selection of hand-dyed yarns. So yep, as I said, I stopped updating Etsy for a little while just to prepare for everything. And so now, by the time this video comes up, papercraneyarns.com is live. So I will link it below. That is my new hub. I don't know what I'm going to do with Etsy yet because I do like working on Etsy. I like buying stuff through Etsy. I have a bunch of beautiful reviews on Etsy from previous customers that I love to read, and I love the conversations, like the messaging service on Etsy, because I have lots of wonderful conversations with people through there. But so I am still working out how I'm going to do that. I do pay for my website, so I'm sure you know, but Etsy also requires a payment as well per listing and per transaction. So I'm not sure if I'm going to move entirely away from Etsy yet, or if I will continue to use Etsy for maybe smaller released, kind of limited released projects, like maybe yarn collections occasionally and bags. But yeah, still working out all those details, all those kind of boring details. But if you're wondering, Etsy is kind of on the wayside for now, but my website is up and running and hopefully without any kinks. So please forgive me if there are any issues in the forefront. I don't expect there to be, but I'm going to see how everything goes now that it's live, and if there's anything I need to address, I will try to do it as quickly as possible. Okay, that's my update. So here is my finished object for these past 2 weeks, or objects should I say. I know everybody counts these differently, like maybe you finish one and you consider it a finished object, and maybe you don't and then it's not finished till they're both done. But regardless, I have both socks done, which feels great. I am so in love with this pattern. This is the Lamplighter Socks pattern, and oh darn, I always forget something. I left my knitting binder with all of my patterns and notes at home, so I don't have that with me, but these will of course be linked below with everything else. And so yeah, these are the Lamplighter Socks. This is a free pattern that I found on Ravelry a long time ago. It's been sitting in my library for a while, and I finally decided to knit these gorgeous pieces of art. I just love this pattern. So the last time I saw you, I think I had just started the color work for my second sock, or maybe I was nearly finished. And then the rest of the sock took no time at all. This is a really quick pattern. It seemed, despite the color work, it seems a lot quicker than socks I normally knit, and I'm thinking it might be because normally I think I have a lot longer of a leg, but this pattern actually tells you specifically, well, of course, it tells you how many rows they want for the ribbing here, which is an interesting, it's a 1 by 1, and the knit stitch is knit through the back loop, so it has a little bit more of like a raised texture, but yeah, it's a really quick ribbed cuff, and then you just do the color work, and then you move straight into the heel flap and gusset, and then this foot really takes no time. This chart is really short. I mean, you're done after just a handful of rows, and then the only difference between these two socks is my toe on the second sock, which this must be the second sock. I knit more decreases on this one because this one was here at my store as a shop sample, and this one I was working on at home, so I knit to, I think, the normal number of toe decreases I usually do. I usually go kind of beyond. I have fewer stitches left before I Kitchener than I think most patterns call for, and definitely this pattern. So this one was like identical to pattern, and then this one I have a little bit longer of a toe, but it's not too different. It's a little bit more of a pointy toe when it's not on the blocker, but now that it's been on the blocker for a while, it probably looks the same. Little details that don't really matter. So yeah, I really loved this so much. I haven't worn them yet because with it being color work, they are a little tight when I'm done, but the blocker has worked wonders. These things are perfect after they sit on the blocker for a little while. So if you knit something like this and you feel discouraged, try putting it on the blocker. I didn't wet block these, I just put them on the sock blocker, and normally I am not, I think I've mentioned before, I don't care to block my socks, but I think I may have converted with this pattern because I'm going to show you what it looks like off the blocker, and it's a world of difference. It has a really great shape. This one hasn't been on the blocker for quite as long. Let me take off this one and you'll see what I mean. See, it just looks so perfect. So I'm really just so happy with these. And the yarn is a combination of paper crane yarn, hand-dyed yarn, and then the gold accent is 29 Bridges Studios. So this is my cream colorway. This black is Ink and Quill, and the cream has some light pink and kind of peachy tones. And then this is the Little Miss Sunshine by 29 Bridges that I got as a 20-gram mini from India Untangled in my India Untangled goodie bag. So yes, I love these very much. I actually put project notes, I think I put project details like yarn and photos on Ravelry, so you can look into it some more there. If you have any interest in knitting these socks, you totally should. You might be able to do it with just scrap yarn. I went with a color palette that was really close to the designer. My only real difference is her cream colored yarn was kind of like a speckled yarn, and then her gold was more of a brown gold than a bright yellow. But other than that, these are pretty much what she, or the designer, I'm actually not quite sure. I think it's, I don't know if it's a person with an alias or if it's a company. It's something, I'll link it below. But the designer, whoever designed this, their sample looks very similar. But there are lots of project pages with people who knit completely different color schemes. So if you've got scraps, you should try to do this because this didn't even take very much yarn. Not a project that you necessarily need to buy yarn for if you do have some scraps. So yeah, not much more I can say, but they are so beautiful. I just love these so much, and I'm using them as shop samples here in my store right now, so I haven't had the pleasure of wearing them yet, but perhaps sometime soon I will grab these up for myself again. So again, those are my Lamplighter socks. And if you're wondering, these are the sock blockers from KnitPicks. I love all of those beautiful wooden sock blockers and the metal wire ones that look like a little hanger. But I think at the time that I bought these were the most inexpensive ones I had come across. And so I went ahead and purchased these, but I hope to one day have a beautiful set of those wooden ones everybody has. Those are so beautiful. They always have like wood burning or something here, and yeah, completely unnecessary. I have a pair of sock blockers, but it's just appreciating the beautiful details of knitting, you know? We all know, you know. So my Lamplighter socks are all that I have in terms of finished object. Well, I do have one more, but it is sewing, so I'm going to show that later in case you're not so interested. But I have another project that is nearly done, and this was my goal. I wanted to get my Lamplighter socks done for today and this Marshland sweater by Tin Can Knits, and I was so close, but then I got bit by the sewing bug, and I don't have as much time right now to knit and do all the things for myself that I want to do, because building a website is time consuming, and sewing project bags, dyeing yarn, just running my store. I do it all by myself. I'm here 40 plus hours a week, plus I have a job that I work pretty much one day a week, and it's online, and so I have 6-day work weeks, and anyway, I don't have a lot of time for myself right now. So I was so close to getting this done, and I'm on the second sleeve right at the end. And you can see, I'm sorry, it's covered in cat hair because this morning I was knitting on this before I came to my store, and then I couldn't find it, and it turns out my cats had taken it by the ball of yarn and dragged it under the bed, sufficiently coating it in cat hair in the process, and I haven't had a chance to clean it off. So if you see fuzz flying everywhere, it's the cat hair of many cats. So sorry about that. But anyway, this is my Marshland sweater by Tin Can Knits, and it's so beautiful. I love it so much. This is I'm knitting this out of Wool of the Andes worsted, the non-superwash yarn from, again, KnitPicks. Tin Can Knits pattern, they recommend Brooklyn Tweed, but I just used, before I knit this, well, actually, okay, let me start over. When I decided to knit this project, it wasn't on my queue, it wasn't even on my radar, but it was many months ago when KnitPicks was having their Wool of the Andes sale, so it was something like buy 2 get 1 free, or buy 3 get 2 free, probably the latter. I don't remember, but I knew I wanted to get a sweater quantity since each ball of yarn was maybe $3 or $4, plus you got some for free. So, you know, it was going to be a nice affordable project. So during the sale, I went on Ravelry and I looked through projects that used Wool of the Andes, and I came across this one. And I talked about it in my last episode, but when I came across the Marshland sweater, I looked through the project pages for this, and I sorted it by favorites, and one of the top projects used almost the exact same colors, but this knitter, she steeked hers into a cardigan, so hers is tremendously beautiful, but I had to borrow her color palette because I thought it just was so gorgeous. So without further ado, yep, this is my Marshland, and my colors are Bittersweet Heather for my gold here. This one is Wonderland Heather. This is the only color that I changed from her color palette. She used a white, and this one is an icy blue. And then this is Icicle Heather, and I think you can tell I like this color. My whole store is painted this color. And this is Silver. And this is another cat casualty. Yeah, not looking so hot, but so I've got those, and then my main color is this mostly black yarn. I believe it's called Bittersweet Heather. Yeah, I really am disappointed that I came so close to finishing, and I'll more than likely finish this today, but so here's one sleeve full of cat hair. And I really love this pattern. I don't always love color work, but this one I thought was really beautiful and so versatile for, I think, anybody. This pattern includes sizes for babies all the way to adult. And I'm planning on knitting one of these for my husband because every time he sees me working on this, he always says, "Where's mine?" So he wants one. And I'm going to be knitting one for our baby as well. So I won't make them all match. I think that would be too much even for me. But I might make my husband's with a complementary color palette, and then I'll make the baby's with a color palette that mixes this one and his. I just think that'd be kind of cute. I don't know how I would pull it off because I was thinking he might want one that had gray and red, and I don't see that working with this color palette, but I'll figure it out. So, yep, I'm right down here. I have to measure, but it looks like I'm pretty close to just, if not already right there to finish, just to knit the color work on the sleeve. I think that's all I have left to do today, and then, of course, the ribbing. So the last time I showed this, the neckline hadn't been picked up yet, and I was thinking about even leaving it that way because I'm also knitting the Aurealis by Jennifer Steingass, and she has in her pattern, and I'll show it in a minute, but her pattern has the option to leaving like an unfinished neckline to sort of have a boat neck look. And I really like that, especially right now being pregnant and not wanting anything here. So I considered leaving this like that as well, but I think with this kind of sweater, it actually just looked unfinished. It didn't look complete, and I think that the color work would have actually maybe stuck out when the top rolled, and I just didn't think it was a great idea. So I picked up for the neckline, I think this is the front, it's hard to tell, and I didn't knit very long, so I think they call for maybe 2 inches of knitting. I didn't measure, but I think I only did about 1 inch, so you can see it's still pretty wide. So I think it's, when I tried it on, it does have the effect that I'm going for. It's a little bit looser than maybe most sweaters, or what, I'm sorry for the sound of my needle hitting the chair. I think this will be great once it's blocked. It is, because it's so short, it is kind of folding down right now, mostly on this side. But I think pinning it when I block it will really help, and Wool of the Andes in general, softening it with, I use like a lanolin wool wash bar for this type of yarn, so I think it'll work really well once it's blocked. I did already weave all of my ends, so I'm proud of that, except for on my current sleeve. I'll have to go back through and do the color work ends. I am, as much as I can, using the weave and Steven method to weave in my ends as I go, but knitting the color work on Magic Loop, I find it's a little bit harder to do the weave and Steven as you go because of the fact that you're going between needles. I'm used to knitting pretty much exclusively in the round. I knit all of my socks in the rounds, like my Lamplighter I did on 9-inch circular, the Chow Goo. I'm not the biggest fan of Magic Loop, although, you know, it's effective. It slows you down. I like to go, go, go. So yeah, I'll have to work on that, getting my ends woven in for the sleeve. And I'll show you my floats quickly if you're interested. For the size of this pattern, I do believe that I knit the 3rd size for the most part. And here are my floats. It's beautiful. I love this. I think this is so fascinating. Every time I show somebody this who's not a knitter, I think they're kind of mind blown that, first of all, this is on the inside of the sweater, but second of all, that creates this. It is pretty amazing. So yeah, for the size, I had a printed out version of the pattern. I went through before I started and highlighted all of the details for the size that I wanted to knit, since it offers such a wide variety of sizes. And I believe, yeah, when I started this sweater, I knew I was pregnant, so I knew I wanted to knit something a little bit bigger. Not necessarily that I would get a chance to wear it while being pregnant, but because this is my first baby, I don't know how quickly my body's going to bounce back. And I didn't want to spend all the time to knit something I might never get to wear. I mean, hopefully I would get to go back to my sort of regular size so I can wear all of my hand knits that I already have, and my clothes in general. Nothing fits anymore, but yeah, I accidentally, I don't know how, but when I got finished with the yoke and it was time to start doing the body, I realized I had a lot more stitches than the size that I knit called for. So I'm not sure if when knitting the chart, maybe I added in some increases, or maybe before I got to that, I don't remember. I don't know. Maybe I increased on accident before the yoke, and then I had too many pattern repeats, but the math worked out, and so I didn't catch it. But regardless, I had to, after the yoke, and I knit the body for a little bit, I wasn't sure if I was going to decrease or if I would leave it sort of the body bigger with the sleeves smaller, because I had the right amount of sleeve stitches on scrap yarn, and yeah, I have no idea what happened, but I did decide to decrease, so I just kind of spread out my decreases over some rows, and I do think you can tell a little bit, and of course, again, it's unblocked, but when I tried it on, it did seem like maybe the yoke was a little bit bigger, and then there was a kind of visible decrease in the body where it came in a little bit. But again, with blocking, I think it'll all work out, and yeah, I'm really happy with the sweater. So I thought this would be a short episode, and now I'm seeing, before editing, I'm already 23 minutes in, and I still have a lot to go through, so I'm going to try to speed it up because I like longer videos. I don't know how everybody else feels. We've talked about this before on my podcast. Some of you like longer videos, and then sometimes I will put up a long video and people will only watch half of it, so I don't know. I hope this suits your taste, however long it ends up being. Perhaps you can take a break and come back later if you would like, if I'm actually capturing your interest in that way. So I wanted to quickly show this sweater again, although I haven't done but a few stitches since my last recording. I decided I needed to put this down and work on just one sweater, my Marshland, to get it finished, but I mentioned this, so I wanted to show it. This is my Aurealis by Jennifer Steingass, and it's a beautiful sweater pattern. It's DK weight. I'm using Kelbourne Woolens Scout, and I think this is the pearl gray colorway. I have to look. I know the purple is the juniper heather. No, that's the... And now I've forgotten because I don't have the ball band in front of me. And anyway, I carry the Kelbourne Woolens Scout in my store, so I'll now have this available on papercraneyarns.com if you wanted to knit yourself a version, and I highly recommend using this yarn. This is so much nicer to work with than the wool of the Andes, not just because it's a thinner weight, which is what I prefer, but the feeling, it has that really woolly wool feel. I don't believe this is a superwash, and but it's so much softer, and I think the stitch definition is so pretty. Let's see if I can capture it. It's really gorgeous. Mulberry Heather, that's the purple, I do believe. But I don't have either of these colors in my shop right now because I purchased directly from them, and they've been out of stock of a lot of the Scout colorways, so I have some other beautiful options in the store, but I do love this color combo. And I picked up this wool from the Perfect Blend, the yarn and tea store in Saugerties, when I went up for Rhinebeck this past year. So I've been really good because I've almost knit through all of my yarn that I purchased at Rhinebeck and India Untangled, so I feel good about that. But yeah, so I am done with the yoke. I'm working on the body now. Then, of course, so this is the neckline I mentioned. This one looks a lot more finished than the Marshland did because it doesn't have the bulky color work right up here at the top, and with it being a thinner weight and designed to be worn this way, yeah, I'm really excited about this. So once my Marshland is done, I'll work more exclusively on this, get the body done, pick up the sleeves, and finish this bad boy up. I can't wait to wear this one. I love the colors. And yeah, apparently this is 2022 has been the year of color work sweaters for me so far, and I have so many more planned that I may have to wait to knit until after the baby comes, but I'm so into it right now. I love color work. I love knitting from charts, and they're just so much fun. So that's my Aurealis, my quick showing of that. I probably had more details on my last episode if you want to go back and talk some more about that. So the other project that I have on the needles currently that I actually don't remember, 2 weeks is a long time, especially when you're really busy and you have so many things going on all at once. This is why I need to go back to being a monogamous knitter, because I don't even know what I've done and what I haven't at this point. But this is my powder wrap by Casapinka, and I love it so much. This is my favorite project on the needles by far. It's so gorgeous. I cannot wait. This is one project that normally I'm like, oh, I want to get this off the needles. I want to wear it. I want to use it. This is one project I never want to finish. I love knitting this, and it's a combination of the pattern. I love the pattern as well as the yarn. I wish all of my yarn could be this yarn. This is the Julie Asselin Nurtured yarn in the leaf pile colorway, which I purchased from Indie Untangled, and it's just the best thing ever. So here's a little close-up. You can see, I mean, I do think leaf pile is probably the most perfect colorway name I've ever heard for a yarn. This so much looks like a pile of autumnal leaves. Everything is, it's all like, you can just picture the crispy brown leaves, but there's so many flecks of gold and blue, and it's so lovely. And I wish that I could reach this through the camera and let you feel it, because the texture is so good. I think, well, so this pattern was actually designed using the Julie Asselin Nurtured, and I was just about to say, I feel like this pattern was meant for this yarn, but it actually was. So this is a beautiful combination. Normally I'm all about substitutions for yarn when knitting a pattern, but if you want to knit this, I say go for it and get yourself this yarn. It is so incredible. So I am, let's see, this is my cast on down here, and then you do so many of these pattern repeats for a good bulk of the shawl, and then at the end you reach the cable section, and this will be my first time knitting cables, so I'm excited to get to that. My first time knitting real cables, I should say. I've done patterns with sort of mock cables or cable alternatives, but this will be my first attempt using a cable needle, which I have yet to purchase. So yeah, I don't know if I made any more progress, but I still have to show it, because in case you didn't see my last episode, I just want to put this out there for you to admire as much as I do. I love this. I cannot wait to wear this big, beautiful shawl. This is like my favorite color ever, and the texture, oh, I can't get over it. Okay, I'll move on now, but I do love this very much. Since I have the yarn in front of me, I forgot I would show it to you, the skeins here. I have, I think, 4 left out of 7, or I'm currently on the 3rd skein, so I guess I have more like 3.5 skeins left, and these are the skeins. I think it's reversed, so it'll look reversed, but this is the Julie Asselin Leaf Pile colorway. It's 100% fine wool, Rambouillet, Targhee, and Merino blend, 56 grams. There's 130 yards. If you want to find this colorway, I believe this is an Indie Untangled exclusive, but you can go to the Indie Untangled website to buy this. I think it's $15 US a skein, and if you knit the powder wrap using this yarn, she also offers a version of fingering weight for the pattern, but I'm doing this one, and you need 7 skeins of this to knit the full powder wrap. So you can go to the Indie Untangled website if you admire this beautiful color as much as I do, or she has other colors. Julie Asselin, there's other colors on the website, and I'm sure that there are certified vendors of, just do a Google search, you'll find it. Okay, so my next work in progress, this is my last knitting project I guess I have to share right now that has, oh no, I have one more. Let me go grab. So my next work in progress is something I have been putting work into. I'm really trying to get this finished because it's been on my needles the longest, and it's so simple. I think, yeah, it's the easiest pattern in the world. It's just tons and tons of knitting, just knit stitches over and over and over with as beautiful it is, and I love the yarn and my needles. There's not a lot of intrigue, so I did put it down for a while when Shawlography came out because it was Shawlography and it was fun. And anyway, I picked this back up and I've made a ton of progress. I'm basically almost done. I may have this done by next episode, we will see. But this is in my new project bag that I sewed recently, and I'll talk a little bit more about this bag at the end. But I wanted to try sewing a new kind of project bag, and I am so obsessed with this drawstring pattern. So these are coming to my shop. There's actually already a few on there, which I'll show again at the end. But this was my my practice bag, and I fell in love with the bag, the pattern, the sewing pattern, everything. I absolutely loved it. So this is the medium size from the pattern. It is a perfect shawl project or smaller. So I would say shawl is kind of the max for this project, or like a baby sweater. But around that amount of yarn, I think this is perfect. This has like a full-size shawl in it right now, and smaller. So super in love with this bag. This is fabric I had in my personal fabric stash, not for my store. It's based on Mother Goose, which Mother Goose, like I'm sure you know, the French and English stories and fairy tales, and so it's really cute, and I love fairy tales, I love storybooks, and yeah, this is just adorable with my new label on it. I don't know if I've shown this on the podcast, and again, it's reversed and there's cat hair, but my old label had a heart on it, and this one has a row of, you can at least see the flowers. It has a row of delicate little flowers, and it says handcrafted in Alabama, paper crane yarns. So all around, kind of a new design for me, but yeah, it's so cute. I love it. So the project contained within is my spring sampler shawl by Nordic yarn imports, and the yarn is a Sandnes Garn Tynn line or Tynn linna, which is a linen, cotton, and bamboo blend, I believe. And I'm using 5 different colors. Let's see. So, and this is the inside of the bag. It's this fun teal fabric, and there's 5 internal pockets. So, I love this bag. But here is my gargantuan shawl project. If you go to my Ravelry page, I do currently have more of a styled progress photo for this, so you can get a better idea of what the finished object will look like. Margaret the mannequin is wearing it, and it's pretty much done. It's really huge. It's hard, I can't show it all on camera at once, but I am in the decrease portion. So you decrease this is another free pattern. Every right side row you decrease 1 stitch, and you go until you have 50 garter ridges per color section, and then you swap colors and you keep decreasing. So I think I only have 2 more colors after I finish this blush shade. And of course, because I'm in the decrease, it's gonna get faster and faster each row. So yeah, I should have this done in no time. This is the point down here at the bottom where I began the decreases. So here is where the decreases start here. And other than that, it is just it's kind of got like a triangular shape. It comes to a point, this is where you start down here. This is the most extravagant way to show a project. Just realized I'm kind of all over the place. I've got 5 different colors. I did take the time to update Ravelry with all of the colorways on there. So I will do my best to link to my Ravelry page for this project down below. And if you want to replicate this or make something similar, you can view my colorway options on there. So that's enough of that project. You should go to my Ravelry to get the fuller effect of what this will look like and what other people's looks like. It's going to be such a huge shawl, the biggest one that I own, and it has a beautiful drape because of the fiber blends, the linen and the cotton, and it's so big I might be able to use it like a nursing cover, but it is, you can see it's probably my gauge, but it is a little bit see-through, so who knows. But I will get to wear this in the summer, so I don't necessarily need to be in a rush to finish it, but you know, it's been on the needles for a while. I would like to get it done. And speaking of needles, these are my Leica needles. This is 3.5 millimeter. I probably could have done a 3.25 or 3 millimeter if I wanted a tighter gauge, but this is great. So that's the spring sampler shawl. So I decided for this episode I would show my Shawlography, and I didn't show it in my last episode because I'm sure everybody's a little tired of seeing Shawlography projects. As beautiful as they are, I know that I sometimes even skip through them because I've spent so long with this project now. It's like I almost don't even want to look at it, and it's probably just because I haven't finished my own. But I did want to show it this time because I do believe I haven't shown it since November, and I think I put a little progress on it since then, perhaps. But I can't believe I still haven't finished this project. I'm carrying this in my Lila Styles Labyrinth bag. I love this bag, it's so cute. So here we go. And I am doing a modified version, which is part of why this has taken me so long, because I'm having to do some sorting outside of the pattern. I, like many people, did not really enjoy where the pattern was headed with the final clue with the really big color blocked stripes. So I'm actually doing the same modification that Kristen Lair of Woolens did on her Ravelry page. She has some project notes of how she sort of finished this shawl, and that includes, she finished hers with the same finishing edge or border of Stephen West's Mocket shawl, and I think it's beautiful, and it is exactly what this pattern needed, I think. So I'm going to finish mine with that, but I'm still working on this final ribbing section. So it's been scrunched up for a while. I haven't actually looked at this thing for a couple months, I don't think. So yeah, there's my Shawlography. It is gorgeous. I do very much love the pattern. It was such a joy to knit. I say was because I'm pretty much done with the pattern itself. I do want to finish this because I want to wear it. Everybody else is already done, and I'm ready to be done. But these are all of my hand-dyed yarns. So these are my merino single base, except for the Salt Lamp colorway. I only had that on a 75-25 fingering. So this green color is my Chrysalis colorway. I love it. It's sort of it just makes me think of spring flowers and little caterpillars. It has specks of golden yellow. And then the rest of these are mostly one-of-a-kinds that I dyed as a kit. So this deep purple, almost brown shade was a one-of-a-kind. This lighter pink is a one-of-a-kind. This was a one-of-a-kind. And then this is my Salt Lamp colorway. So this is a regular in my shop. The only section I don't really like in terms of the colors being paired, and I did follow all of the instructions for pairing colors, so if this hadn't been a mystery knit along, I would not have chosen to put these two together. I think it kind of has a striking, it kind of looks a little bit, it takes away, I think, from all of the purples, and yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but this is not my favorite section. I like the design, although if I remember correctly, I think I actually knit this a little bit wrong, because I believe this, oh no, it's this, these are the triangles, and they look right, so we're good. But anyway, other than that, I am pretty pleased with it. I did have, this was a long section to get through, like most people were saying. I think knitting the baubles was my favorite part. A lot of people don't like knitting baubles, but I love knitting baubles. They're so fun, and it's a good bit of knitting, and you know, you don't really get very far. or at least that's what it feels like, but I love the effect. So I love the baubles. And then this is the section I'm on, and I haven't been keeping my own notes, so I'm not actually sure if I'm finished with this color or not. So I did the crosses like are in the pattern, the original pattern, and then I actually don't know if this part is in the final clue because I haven't even opened the file for the final clue. I just went straight into following the pattern notes that Kristen Lair has on her Ravelry page, so this might be what the pattern tells you to do. I'm not sure, but I know at least what she did was she knit this ribbing section in this colorway, and then you do this one more time in another colorway, and then you finish it again with the Smocket shawl pattern border in another colorway. So I just have a little bit more to go. If I put my mind to it, I could finish it, and I would like to. I think once it's blocked, it will be beautiful, and it is very fun. It's definitely a fun project. It's so unique. I would like to wear it, and I would like to put it on Margaret because she's been wearing my Nights Who Say Knit shawl for a couple of weeks. She probably wants an outfit change at this point. So that's Shawlography. And I just have 2 more fiber art projects to show you. So yay if you're still here and watching. These next 2 projects are crochet, and I do enjoy crochet, although it's not my COC, my craft of choice. I don't know. It is fun though. I do like it. So this first one is not something I've worked on in a while, but I had a really special visitor to my store last weekend, and that was Marquita of Marquita Makes or Naughty Crush. And I'll make sure to link her down below so you can go check her out. But she visited my shop. I was so happy when I found out she was coming because we've kind of been sort of like how, you do. We've been online friends for a little while now, and she lives in Alabama like I do, but she's a few hours away. So it was just so amazing when I saw she had put on an Instagram story, I think the night before she was coming, and I didn't see it until maybe that morning or like right before I went to sleep, and it made me so happy. And then when she got here, we had the best time. So it was really great getting to meet her, and she was so lovely. She does a lot of crochet, and the reason why I'm going to show you this next project is something that she and I talked about that I had kind of forgotten about. But if you should definitely go watch her videos. She's a wonderful crocheter. She has a great personality. She's so sweet and smart, and she loves Star Wars. I love Star Wars, so we have a lot in common. But one thing that, and she did do a really beautiful video review of my store, and that was so unexpected. So I was watching her video about her visit with me and crying. It was just so nice. And I can't even blame it on the pregnancy hormones. It was just so beautiful. There's a couple of people who now have talked about me on YouTube in a way that just lights up my whole world. Like, just in the things that they say about me as a person, like my favorite kind of compliment is hearing that I am a warm person, or I'm kind, or, that kind of realm of characteristics. I'm very wordy today. I've got a lot of prose inside me apparently. But anyway, I was like crying when she was talking about meeting me, and yeah, I felt so just warm and happy, and I can't say enough good things about Marquita, and so go over there and watch. But when she was here, she asked me if I was familiar with Fiber Spider, who's on YouTube, and I got all excited because Fiber Spider was basically how I learned how to crochet many years ago. Because I actually started with crochet before I taught myself how to knit, and I love Fiber Spider. And yeah, so she reminded me that I was working on a Fiber Spider project that I haven't touched in a while. And then I also did have another visitor, and I meant to mention this on my last episode, but I totally forgot in all of the excitement. But Rachel from Creative Yarnaholic, who's on Instagram, she also came and visited me, and that was on my grand opening day, January 29th. So I just want to give her the hugest thank you that she deserves for making the trip. She had a couple hours drive to come and see me for my grand opening, and that's just another thing I love about this community, is how supportive everyone is of each other. I've definitely driven my fair share to buy yarn and to support yarn dyers and yarn stores, so to have it turn around and happen for me was the most amazing thing. And Rachel does all kinds of really awesome stuff. She, again, find her on Instagram, creative_yarnaholic. She does a lot of test knitting, and she's just all around a really fantastic creator, so make sure to check her out. But I just thought that was so sweet, and she was sweet, and she brought her husband, and he was really funny. It was just great getting to meet more people in the community in person, and then again to have that support was so lovely. So yeah, thank you, Rachel, if you're watching this, for coming all the way out those couple of weeks ago to visit me and support me. It's just so amazing. I'm so glad that I got to open this store and do all of this. It still feels like unbelievable. But anyway, so my crochet project. Whew, take a deep breath and move on with it. I'm sorry. This is my virus blanket by, I'm following the pattern by Fiber Spider. And I've crocheted one of these before. I made one for my best friend Kira, and I did a red, white, and blue color palette to kind of match a comforter that she had. And I made it pretty large, but I finished that back in, I think, 2020. The summer of lockdown, because I remember my husband and I built up a section of our garden, and I sat out there every day and worked on it, and it was so lovely. And then I started on the second one not too long ago, because my mom gave me a bunch of the yarn that she had that she wasn't going to use. She does some crochet here and there, and the colors these are like my favorite colors. This had to be a blanket, and when I crocheted Kira a virus stitch blanket, I really wanted one for myself because it's so much fun. It's really beautiful, and unlike some other crochet blankets like your granny squares and stuff, there's no piecing. This is all done all together, just with lots of color changes that lead to a lot of ends to weave in at the end. But I just love this. So I'll try to link the Fiber Spider video below if you want to make one for yourself. This is a good stash buster for sure. You could use any kind of yarn for this. It's a 100% polyester yarn that she gave me. She had maybe 2 balls of each color, and I knew I wouldn't use it for anything other than a blanket, so they're perfect for this pattern. Man, it is so beautiful. I'm glad that I took this out to look at and to work on again, because it's just so gorgeous, and it's actually quite easy. So in terms of crochet patterns, and if you crochet a lot, I'm sure you can tell that this is an easy project, but in terms of crochet, this is one of the most beautiful designs, in my humble opinion. And it's kind of like a little lap blanket size right now, but it will be pretty big when I'm done. So that is my virus stitch blanket. So I have one more crochet project to show you, and I saved this one for last because this one is kind of like my little announcement project. I mentioned in my last episode that I was pregnant, and at the time I was around 15 weeks. Yeah, I was just about to go and get my ultrasound to find out the gender of my baby. And so yeah, the following week, last week I went and found out the sex of my baby, and you always know that you're going to love your baby no matter what, but I certainly was leaning toward, I would really love to have a girl, and I'm having a girl, so I'm working on a blanket for her. And I actually started this blanket before I was ever pregnant. Well, I say that. I was pregnant before, and it ended in a miscarriage. So this blanket has been a long time coming, but I continued to work on it, or I had been working on another color palette of this blanket with the first baby, and I can't remember if I started this in the interim between the pregnancies or not, but I knew one day I would hopefully have a baby. So boy or girl, I was going to give this to them. And I'm just so happy that everything's going well, and that's all that matters. But I am very excited to be having a little girl. I just cannot believe I'm going to have a daughter. I never thought that I would have kids, and I'm just so, yeah, it's all I can think about. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. I'm glad that I have my yarn store up and running, and she can be here with me and hopefully want to learn. And if she doesn't, it's okay, but hopefully will want to learn all of the things that I enjoy and can teach to her. And anyway, long story short, here's one of my baby blankets that I'm working on. So this is yarn that I've had for a while. It's from Hobbii. This is the Hobbii Twister yarn, and the only complaint I have about these cakes is they do not stay together. The other one that I was crocheting was a very vibrant rainbow blanket, which would have been perfect for this baby because she is my rainbow baby, but the yarn became such a tangled mess. Like, I was crocheting with it, and at some point it had like a big knot come out that I can't repair it. So it's majority of a rainbow without the red and the orange. It's probably going to be a smaller blanket without the red. I'm just gonna finish it. I've tried too many times to untangle that yarn. So that's my only complaint about this yarn. Otherwise, it's a really nice big cake of yarn. It is 55% cotton and 45% acrylic. I don't know this colorway name, but it is sort of like a deep pink shade to light pink and then to a deep navy. So it's a beautiful gradient. I can't wait to have this done to give to her. I mean, she's not here yet, so she's in no hurry, but this is the Ziggy blanket pattern by Hobbii. And it's very, very easy, very straightforward. I think it's just so lovely, and I'm gonna pull stitches out because my crochet hook is not in the, there we go. Super easy pattern to memorize, very basic. It's a very fine yarn, so it's not a super quick project, but if I do just a row or two every day, I will have this done in no time. This is something I've been working on a lot too recently, so yeah, that's my exciting crochet project. I can't wait for the other yarn from Hobbii to get here. It's on its way. It just made it to the US, so I'm guessing it'll be here in like a week or so, but I am going to crochet a pattern that I've had my eye on for a long time by, I believe you call it Melu crochet. It's M-E-L-U crochet, and it is the ombre rainbow. I think ombre rainbow. It's an ombre rainbow blanket, and it is shaped like a rainbow, and she calls for the Hobbii bamboo yarn, so that's what I'm going to use. I loved her color gradient because the rainbow that she created was sort of like a darker rainbow, and I just think it's really pretty, and it's not super vibrant like a lot of the other stuff I've been making for her. So yeah, I'm ready for that yarn to get here. Not that I need any more projects right now, but so speaking of my daughter, I have felt so inspired to make all the things for her. And something I've never done but wanted to try and thought this was a great opportunity was quilting, because I do a lot of sewing, but I've never done quilting. So I woke up last Sunday, so this took me no time at all to think up and then carry out, so I feel good about that. I dedicated one day this past week to just doing this quilt. And yeah, I already have a finished quilt for my daughter, so I'm going to show you that. This is my other finished object of a different species. So I have this lovely quilt for her. This was my practice quilt, so I also, the day that I bought this fabric, I bought the fabric to make 2 of these stripy quilts, and I like the fabric for the other design I came up with better, so I did this one first just in case I had any issues with quilting. But now that this one's done and it worked almost perfectly, I can't wait to do the second one. But I'm going to try to show you this as best as I can. So again, this is a baby size quilt. This was a pattern made, this was a quilting pattern by Made Every Day, and I found her on YouTube when I was looking up beginner quilt patterns, and I downloaded her PDF and I followed her really wonderful tutorial. If you've never quilted, she explains it so well. Again, I'll try to remember to link it below, but she made quilting so easy, and she was doing a baby blanket size, so it was even easier because even though in the free PDF she offers different sizes and dimensions, but I didn't have to do any extra math. I followed what she did. So I love this. This is the back. I love the back. I love how vibrant it is, and yeah, it's oranges. It's so cute. And the quilting pattern that I did were these. I followed what she did in her video, although she tells you about other ones you could do. I thought this would be the most interesting because there's not a lot of contrast between the fabrics that I chose for this one. But so I did these sort of 2-inch diamonds for my quilting pattern, and I used a light pink thread since most of my fabrics had a white base, just to provide some intrigue. And this has already been washed and dried, so it has the beautiful wrinkly quilty look. So yeah, I ended up having to do my binding the same fabric as my main fabric, so to speak. It's the simple Moons and Stars, and I did do I did machine quilt the binding here on the top. I might try hand binding at some point, but as much as I love sewing, I do not like hand sewing, so I don't know if it really matters to me to not have the thread here. Yeah, I haven't decided. So if you're still here, I'm kind of rambling today. I have a lot more energy today than I have in a while. So again, really easy pattern. This is my main fabric, simple with yellow sun and stars, and then it goes into this super cute, whimsical fabric. It's got mushrooms and little animals. I love that one. And so every other stripe is that main fabric. So then it goes into a very spring fabric it's pink with bunnies and flowers. And then this one is fun. It's rainbow snails. And the way that I cut my fabric, I kind of cut all of the snails in half there, but you get the idea. And then this one is my favorite fabric. It is, again, like mushrooms and woodland animals, but I love the color. And then this one is beautiful. It's just got some floral wreaths. It's all very delicate. And then, I probably should have done this one the other direction, because now that I'm looking at it, the direction of the others go the other way. So if I flip this upside down, more woodland creatures. And yeah, that's it. So nice and beautiful, lovely quilt. I did a cotton batting. Now, to show you the one really funny mistake, in my opinion, and it's not a mistake if we were naming her Joanne, but we're not. So I managed to leave the word Joanne in my selvage edge there. Don't know how I did that, but it's forever in this quilt. It says not intended for children's sleepwear. That's lovely. It'll be something she can look back on and laugh at, hopefully, one day when she's older. So that is my nice big quilt. I was so addicted to this project. This really took like a day. I'm addicted. This is a new hobby for me. I have been looking up quilting patterns nonstop ever since, and it's all I can think about. I need to stop. I already have a lot to do. Oh my goodness, this is a long video. I hope you're still here. If you are, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I just have a couple more things to show, and one being another soon-to-be project for my baby. Yeah, I'm a little obsessed right now with getting to do all of the baby knits, and it's probably because nothing I knit for myself will fit, so I'm getting to, I feel like my daughter's already spoiled and she's not even here. So I'm only on my 17th week of pregnancy. I don't even know how much I'll have made for her by the time she's actually born. She's gonna have so much stuff. But I'm very, very excited for this next project. I have mohair fuzz on me now. I am going to knit the baby bear balaclava for my daughter. And if you watch Gabriella of Merryweather Knitting Podcast, and I'm sure you do, and if you don't, what are you doing? Because Gabriella is like the best person on the internet. I adore her. Hi Gabriella, if you're watching this. I really do adore her very much. Her projects are so beautiful, and she knit something for her daughter a little while ago that I have been obsessed with ever since. And I think I may have seen the pattern before she knit it, and when she knit it, I was so excited to see somebody knitting it. So now I'm gonna knit my own. So the baby bear balaclava, and I think it is, I believe it's a Knitting for Olive pattern. So I'm using Knitting for Olive, the merino and the silk mohair. I really love Knitting for Olive silk mohair. The price is, I'm sorry, I really have a lot of mohair all over me. The price point is really not bad, and if you find well, I'm in the US, so I had to find an online retailer who carried it to avoid paying a massive shipping charge to import it. But this is, I think, the only, if not one of the only certified, it's REACH standard cruelty-free silk mohair, which is really important to me. I've been vegan for like 15 years, and animal welfare is really important to me, so I do my absolute best to make sure everything I source from my store is following cruelty-free standards as best as I can. And like if I was to learn that anything that I carried wasn't, I would drop it. But all that to say, I really love Knitting for Olive because that is also important to them. So this is the powder colorway for both of these, and it is like a oatmeal sort of shade. This is the 100% extra fine merino, and again, this is the 70% mohair, 30% silk, and you hold these double to knit the baby bear balaclava. So you should go watch Gabriella's podcast if you would like to see her knit that beautiful project, and I'm going to cast this on very shortly. So the project is going to live in this Paper Crane Yarns project bag, but for now it remains in this form. I might cast this on tomorrow. We shall see. Other future knitting projects that I have in mind, since I just finished my Lamplighter socks, I would like to get another pair of socks on my needles. So I think it's time that I knit my Woolens and Nosh self-striping socks. I got this from India Untangled. This is the sushi colorway, and it is 90% superwash targhee and 10% nylon, which I'm really excited about. I have not knit socks with targhee before, so I think this will be really, really fun to knit. And she had, they had a sample up at India Untangled of this colorway, and I was so in love with it, so I can't wait to knit this. The only thing I haven't decided is if I'm going to do the self-striping yarn for the whole sock, or if I am going to introduce a contrast for the cuff and toes and heel. And I probably will do a contrast because I think that'll be fun. Most times I don't use contrast, so I would like to in this case. And these are some stash yarns that I have from when I knit my Nights Who Say Knit. So I'm going to use one of these colors. I haven't decided. It'll probably be this one because I think it is, yeah, it'll definitely be this one. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to wind this up today and get that on my 9-inch circular needles. So that is future knitting. And I have one more future knitting project that I'm going to be casting on Tuesday. As if I need more projects and more shawls. That's what I'm going to be doing because Marianarella of Lyrical Knits is doing another mystery knit along. She did Nights Who Say Knit last year, and it was the most fun project I've ever done. It was brilliant, and again, Margaret, my mannequin, wears my Nights Who Say Knit rectangular shawl, and everybody who comes into the store asks if they can buy it, and I feel so bad because it's a shop sample, and I have to explain to them that it took like 5 weeks to make, but that I can teach them how to make it. I'd be happy to do that. So I definitely encourage people to make it, but everybody wants to buy it, and I feel bad because I don't wear it, but Margaret wears it. So anyway, this mystery knit along is it's called the As You Wish Inconceivable Mystery Knit Along. It is based on the Princess Bride. So the last one was based on Monty Python. This one is the Princess Bride, and I just cannot be more excited. The first clue is being released on February 22nd. Today is like the 19th? Yeah, the 19th, I believe. So Tuesday, we'll get the first portion of the pattern. And she's going to do it the same way as every other Mystery Knit Along, release a section of the pattern every week. The last one I think was 5 sections, so this one might be as well. I'm not sure. I don't remember, but let me show you my yarn plans for this project. So, okay, let's see, you're a little askew there. Okay, so there we go, I guess. For this project, she calls for 4 full skeins of fingering weight yarn, and I'm going to be using my hand-dyed yarns for this. I dyed 2 colorways specifically that I wanted to use, and then the other 2 I'm pulling from Stash, and I cannot for the life of me decide which 2 colors. They're all so similar, but I'm going to show you, and perhaps you can help me narrow it down. So she calls for 4 colorways, and your C1 and your C2 should have a high contrast, and your C3 and C4 should have a high contrast, but C1 doesn't have to contrast with C3 and you know, all those other combinations. So first of all, I have this one, and this is one of my new colorways for my shop. This will be a regular colorway. I'm so obsessed with it. I have it hanging back here, my label on it. This is called Midnight Ball, and I have this one on an 80/20. So I do have some of this available in my shop at papercraneyarns.com. It is just the perfect combination of black and cream and mauve and light pink, and I love this so much. So I dyed this and snagged a skein for myself. So this will be my C1. She says if you're going to use a variegated to make it your C1. So this will be my C1. So I dyed this for myself as well. This was a one of a kind, but I will be replicating this for the shop because it is the perfect plum merlot kind of shade. It's just so beautiful. I really love it. And these 2 together, they make me so happy. This is me, like in some yarn. This is me. This is my spirit. So yeah, I love this combination. And as much as I want to make this my C1 and C2 to have these play together, I think the other yarns I have would look very simple compared to these 2. And since I have knit her last mystery knit along, I may have an idea of how she would do this one. She might completely change it up, but I'm worried that if I do these 2 together, then my other 2 colors would be really dull in comparison, and maybe the shawl would look a bit strange to have a really intriguing set of colors and then an afterthought set of colors. So I may have to break these up and make this my C1 and this my C3. So the colors I have to choose from, I think this will be a definite. And these are all already wound up into cakes, but they are my hand-dyed yarns. And this is a silver. So I think this will be a definite because it's the most different from all of the colors I have to choose from. I was thinking I might do these 2 together, and I have 3 other colors to choose from. I have this purple gray, and I apologize, these cakes are a bit messy now. They've been sitting around for a while. So I could do this purple silver kind of color, but I do think it may create kind of a monotonous color palette. I'm not sure. My husband, I asked his opinion, he said to not use this one. So I don't know about it, but I do also have this one, which is so similar to this one that I would definitely I couldn't pair these together. It would have to be something like this or like this. So again, a tough choice. And then I also have this one, which is a little bit lighter. This is a very similar cream to the one I used for my Lamplighter Socks, but it has a little bit more pink depth to it, so I could do this combination or I could do this. And again, I don't think there's definitely not enough contrast here, so I don't know. If you guys have an opinion, I would really appreciate some support here. I cannot figure out what to do. I almost would like to pick another color from my store, but I already have these, so I need to use them. I just don't know how. I don't know what to do. So if you have an opinion, please let me know, because I have to cast this on Tuesday, so I don't have much time to decide. So yeah. Oh wow, I'm looking around the mess I made in my store, and I'm going to have to quickly clean this up because we may have some people come by in a little bit, and they're gonna walk into this pure and utter chaos, so I need to get this cleaned up. The last thing I will show you, if you're interested, I mentioned my new project bags earlier in my episode, and so I wanted to show you 2 of the designs that I currently have on papercraneyarns.com. I really love these ones very, very much. So this one I'm calling Mushrooms, and that was my dad's suggestion. M-O-O-S-H-R-O-O-M-S, Mushrooms. I think it's cute. So this is a new design. It has a linen top and bottom. It's sort of like it kind of looks like a mushroom color. And then, see, it's getting a little bit blown out. These adorable mushrooms are all over the main fabric, and so the lining fabrics can vary, but as much as I had fabric for, I tried to do the inside of this one with these clouds, and it looks like rain and hearts, and it's really cute. But again, there's 5 pockets on the inside plus the main compartment, so this is a wonderful size bag. It can hold quite a bit, and I just think this is so cute. So I'm excited to have these now in my shop and to make more of them. And I have lots of fabric already set aside. I need to cut to make more of the same style and some new styles. So I will be updating those in my shop as they are finished. But this is my other design, and I'm calling this one Lost with the Moths. And it has moths all over it with some flowers, again getting a little bit blown out. And the linen has a gold metallic contrast, so it's so fun. This one is gorgeous. And again, as much as I could, this is my lining fabric. So really love this bag too. Again, great size for shawl projects and smaller. I'll have other sizes available at some point, but for now, this is what I've got. So you can find these in my shop right now. Okay, taking a deep breath. I'm going to sign off and get cleaned up, do some work for the day, get this video edited and hopefully up today, which is Saturday. And yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in, especially if you're still here. Thank you for watching to the end or fast forwarding to the end or whatever you did. Yeah, I love visiting with you guys, and I'm so glad that I have so much more energy today than I have had. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you have a lovely weekend and week, and that you just have the best time creating, and I hope this video leaves you feeling a little bit inspired to work on something of your own. Yep, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.